Mercedes Mone made her triumphant return to pro wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom 17, and now it's time for her to do it again in AEW. Or not.
Pro Wrestling Bits. Subscribe now.
Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Mone, may or may not return to AEW. I don't know. Do you? Nobody seems to. Saraya announced she'd have a mystery partner in Inglewood a month ago, so the payoff has to be huge, right? But then she selected Toni Storm in a backstage segment, so I guess it isn't Mercedes? But then again, she did do it in a way that made Hikaru Shida jealous, so maybe this is just a swerve. Shida will attack Toni Storm and Mercedes will be all elite. But then again, AEW has not announced Mercedes Mone. Well, maybe it's a surprise. But if you have a Mercedes Mone, you really should have announced it, especially this week where the Kia Forum has sold just over 8,000 tickets and it'll be a half-empty version of the record-setting 14,000 tickets sold last year. On God, half that arena is about to look like Stephanie McMahon's board seat. Whether or not Mercedes Mone shows up in AEW, the company has handled her would-be return horribly. Mercedes Mone drove record-breaking numbers for New Japan World. Numbers they never ever even did when they had a prime Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega featured on past cards. So either Mercedes shows up on AEW Dynamite to a big pop, but no ratings or tickets bump, or she doesn't show up and all the forum freaks the f out. It's damned if they do, damned if they don't. I get that wrestling fans can be entitled, but fans have every right to be angry at AEW if Mercedes Mone doesn't show up in Inglewood. AEW revolutionized the non-announcement announcement. Starting with CM Punk, they didn't utter the man's name on television, yet were still able to sell out the United Center. In place of Punk's name, AEW dropped hints that he was debuting, with terms like best in the world to signal to its hardcore audience that he was showing up. Right on cue, Britt Baker was scripted to say, "I am the boss." So given AEW's history, people have every right to believe that the boss, Mercedes Mone, could show up. Tony Khan has made a habit of non-announced surprise appearances from former WWE guys like Jeff Hardy, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and Keith Lee, among others. So if Mercedes Mone doesn't show up after a month-long build and veiled references, and fans turn on this match, AEW only has itself to blame. AEW is a victim of its own tight-lipped strategy with this one, and this is a classic case of when keeping it sealed goes wrong. Poor Saraya has had to answer questions about whether or not Mercedes will be her tag team partner, starting with me, of course. Does it rhyme with Sasha Banks? AEW could run into the rare instance where its loyal fan base turns on the product with chants of "We want Sasha," or for copyright reasons, "We want Mone." Tony Khan might be thinking about signing Mercedes to a one-appearance deal just to avoid that situation entirely. That's what happens when you establish a pattern of delivering unveiled teases, only to tease a return that isn't happening. If that was the case, AEW should have never made a reference to Wells Fargo Bank, let alone Sasha Banks. Maybe Tony Khan will be able to swing Naomi. Maybe Chris Statlander gets in on this. Either way, because of the high expectations, if he don't got a Mercedes, he better at least have a Range Rover. Because if this was a one-month build to Toni Storm, that's a Ford Pinto. For selfish reasons, I hope Mercedes Mone shows up tonight. It would be lit. I'd be in the crowd. I want that moment, especially after her underwhelming debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was great to see her back, but due to crowd noise limitations, it was nothing compared to the pop she'll get in the States, wherever she shows up, whenever she shows up. The pop for Mercedes at New Japan's Battle in the Valley might end up being bigger. Seriously, wake up, Japan. I expect AEW's women's division to take a huge step forward in 2023. And that'll either start with a lot of momentum for the division or even more outrage against it. Check out this video I did about why Mercedes and AEW would be good for wrestling, and subscribe so that you're not the Ford Pinto of YouTube. Will Mercedes Mone show up in Inglewood tonight? If not, then whom? Tell me in the comments.